Hey everybody, welcome to JoshuaGaming.com. Doing a weekly recap for the week ending August 19th, 2011. And we saw some big things happen this week. We saw the stock market continue to stay on course with what it's been. The stock market dropped roughly another 500 points from about 11,300 to about 10,800. Stock market's down 2,000 points in the last 30 days. So that's 500 a week for four straight working weeks. It's crazy. So if you have a lot of money in your 401k, definitely be looking at maybe picking up a little gold or silver, or maybe talking to somebody about cash flow in real estate. But it's really big week for the stock market again. Huge week, huge week for gold. And I want to do a shout out right now to Silver Futurist. Silver Futurist, your blog is amazing. Your YouTube videos are great. I love it. Good source of education. You're getting your word out there, and that's awesome. One of the points he made on his last video was Susie Orman bragging about her buying gold. And if you follow Susie Orman at all, stop. But that she used to preach against. She was not saying the same thing. I mean, it almost, when I heard that Susie Orman saying buy gold, it almost made me think like, wait, is this critical mass on gold already passed? I mean, when Susie Orman gets on something, it's she almost capitalizes this to the fact that the masses do that. People do that. Like if you look at big demographics, people catch on to trends late, right? I mean, that's why moneymakers go in before they see a trend happening, get their money. I mean, that's what entrepreneurs do, right? They kind of see what's happening and create that and capitalize off of it. But Susie Orman, she just kind of jumps on the coattails and then tries to make a profit off of that. At least that's how it seems to me. I don't know. The story I heard was that she was given the money that she has. But I don't know. She's probably sold a lot of books and got a lot more people following her than me, so I just thought it was funny and interesting that Silver Futurist pointed that out, and it made me think about it. So gold hit $1,800 and $1,850 this week. Huge. And when gold hit 1,800 last week, and then it kind of dropped, I thought, and I even said this on the show, don't be surprised if gold drops a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. The trend will keep going. But no, gold didn't even drop a little bit. I mean, if you consider $50-$60, I mean maybe $75 at its midday low for the whole week. But no, gold's going up 1850. Silver is starting to catch pace too. It had a big day today, and I think silver closed around over $41 if I'm not mistaken, just over $41. So I think that was a big barrier for it to hit, because silver had been, it got up to $50. I mean, it ran from $15 to $50, and then it went from 50 to 30, pretty quick. And what happened is a lot of people there was a lot of exchange trading going on around silver on a paper asset level, trading papers and ETFs and all these things. So a lot of investors, they realized that profit, sold out, and what have you. Here's another thing on silver too. When the economy's weak, see, silver is an industrial metal, so it's used in building lots of things, cell phones, computers, all sorts of things for technology. Well, people think that if the economy, if we're not producing as much stuff and the economy's not as good overall, we might not need as much silver, so it could lower the demand and lower the price of it. I disagree, because technology is going through the freaking roof, so I think silver is going to, stay valuable. And I really like silver even more than gold, honestly. I love gold right now. It's hard not to get excited. I mean, when gold's doing right now what silver did in November. But the point is, when one's doing it, be assured that that's the trend, and go to the other one if it's not moving, right? Like silver right now is cheap. I mean, I'm not saying don't buy gold, because I mean, you just don't know. When it dips, that's when it's on sale. That's when you know that you want to buy it. Like silver, when it dipped to $30, I was saying it then. If you go back, read my blog, go back, watch my YouTube videos back, I was saying psychology has just got ahead of itself. A lot of stuff going on with the paper exchange markets and affecting silver, but it's fine. The trend's still going up. The Fed's still doing the same thing. Government's allowing them to do it. So my main point is just that if you can pick up a little bit of silver, I think it's an absolute bargain at $40 an ounce, or you're probably going to pay maybe around $41.50, $42 over the weekend if you go into your local coin shop or your bullion dealer. Buy it online, goldsilver.com. You can get it, or Kitco. I mean, it's all over the place. You don't got to pay a premium. And $40 is, I mean, it's the next time it does what it did last time, how it went from 15 to 50, then it went back down to 30. The next time, I mean, now we've cringed back up to 41. I don't know if it's going to do it at 45 or 42 tomorrow or 55, but the trends keep going the way it was. It's going to have major surges, especially as the government, I've really been thinking a lot about this week. QE3, it's coming again. We know it's coming. Bernanke said it to Congress a month ago. That they're thinking of something. There's a lot of talk going on about it out there on alternative media, but I don't think it's going to be called QE3 or quantitative easing again. I think it's going to be under the hat of a different, something else clever that the bankers come up with. But it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be more stealing wealth from the poor and middle class via inflation. As they're pumping all this more dollars into circulation to try and create some kind of economy, the market they can't compete with the market's equilibrium, and the market's just finding its way of stabilizing, getting rid of the value of the perceived value in paper, banknotes from that the Federal Reserve issues. It's silly. So, anyways, Mike Maloney wrote. He has the #1 precious metals book, Investing in Gold and Silver. It's a Rich Dad book. If you guys follow Rich Dad Poor Dad, author Robert Kiyosaki, Mike's one of his advisors, and he's Robert Kiyosaki's advisor on precious metals, gold and silver. He wrote a book, and he actually sat down this week for 40 minutes, and he did an interview with Ron Paul. And it's out there, and they talk about some great things. They talk about the Constitution, how we've gotten away from that, how federal paper notes were never supposed to be issued, only gold and silver were supposed to be legal tender, individual liberties and rights. And Mike Maloney asked a big question to him. He said, you're going under the Republican hat, but really you're really a libertarian, and so Ron Paul kind of went into how he, is more of a libertarian, but he actually considers himself a constitutionalist, because he says, the constitutional, it's thin, it's black and white, it's simply written, and he thinks that they answered pretty much everything. You just go back to the Constitution. We've gotten so far away from that, that's the reason for a lot of our problems. Ultimately, he said, because you got to pay, and this is what I've said before. I don't like seeing GOP hung around Ron Paul, but you got to be a Democrat or Republican to have a chance. And he said he tried being a libertarian, running for president in like '88, didn't work out for him for a couple reasons, and he didn't badmouth them. And the libertarians have a great point of view. His point was it's a game. It's Republicans and Democrats are the two teams, and if you're not on one of them, you really don't have a chance. So he wants to get in and keep influencing things and doing things like he's done for the last 40 years in Washington, 40 years. So if we can get him into the White House, it'll be amazing what we can do. Ron Paul 2012 prediction for silver next week. I'm gonna go big week on silver, 43.50, and gold I'm gonna say 1925. I'm really jumping on. I'm thinking it's hot right now. I don't know, but I'm not saying go out and gamble. That's just for fun. Because you should at least be paying attention. But if you do have cash laying around, and unless you have somewhere you need to put it, I don't recommend saving it. At least go on buy a 1/10 of an ounce of gold, buy a coin of silver, buy something. Have fun with it.